1090 AM, WILD, a Radio 1 station, is doing their part to measure the movement. Reverend Al Sharpton's National Action Network proudly presents Measuring the Movement, a TV1 special presentation hosted and moderated by Tom Joyner from the Tom Joyner Morning Show and Roland Martin from TV1's Washington Watch, live from New York. And now, time to measure the movement, courtesy of TV1.
And a reminder, 1090 AM WILD here in Boston is the only African-American radio station that is representative of what the Reverend Al Sharpton, Tom Joyner, and Roland Martin and others are putting together to measure the movement. Hosted and moderated by Tom Joyner and Roland Martin.
Hello. We're very happy at the National Action Network's convention to host Measuring the Movement, a 12-month action plan for black leadership. We're in a new century with new circumstances, and we need a new conversation that leads to tangible results, not just one-liners and sound bites. Today, we hope to start that new conversation among black leadership. We must hold everyone accountable, from government to our own institutions. We must be accountable from the White House to your house and my house. You must be accountable too. In that spirit, the President of the United States, Barack Obama, has sent a message. President Obama has sent a message to us that will be read by a young African-American staff member who works with him in the White House every day. May we welcome Michael Blake.
Dear Reverend Sharpton, congratulations to you and the National Action Network for another year of fighting for the rights of those who have no voice and lifting up causes that otherwise would go unnoticed. The President regrets that he's unable to join us today and has been a wonderful 2010 National Action Network convention. This has been one of the most challenging times in our nation, but because of the work and the investments of the Recovery Act and other policies that we have enacted during this first year, we are starting to see the beginning of the signs of economic recovery. However, we are acutely aware that there is a high unemployment rate, particularly for African Americans. And we understand the critical need to create jobs and develop pathways of opportunity. So that is why we have provided $1 billion in capital for small and minority businesses in underserved communities and authorized innovative programs to develop more than 100,000 jobs for TANF recipients in more than 21 states. We are also investing in a skills agenda by increasing the amount of Pell Grant awards and improving our support for community colleges so that workers have the tools they need to be successful and take advantage of these future opportunities. Our success in enacting health insurance reform, coupled with the First Lady's initiative on childhood obesity, will serve to reduce the alarming health disparities among African Americans. New benefits like free preventative care and increased access to medical attention through community health centers. In addition, no patient can be denied ever again for a pre-existing condition or lose their health care when they are sick and they need it most. More than 32 million uninsured Americans will have access to health care, and millions of them are African American. Another important part of our administration agenda is obviously focusing on a world-class education system that supports the aspirations of all Americans from the cradle to the career. So your leadership and work, Reverend Sharpton, on both sides of the aisle has drawn much needed attention to this critical issue. In the schools across our nation, dropout rates are too high, expectations are too low, and too few African Americans have the opportunities needed to prepare for college and the career. So we're calling for more rigorous and relevant standards and accountability in our schools, investing billions in advanced reform to turn around our most troubled schools, reduce our dropout rates. But we also will raise the bar and improve our outcomes for our youngest children before they reach kindergarten, while also investing $1 billion in our black colleges and universities over the next 10 years to chart a new course for a better life and a brighter future. Since its founding, the National Action Network has stood up for those without help, and without hope. And while many are talking about the need for transformational action, your organization, Reverend Sharpton, is working to see it carried out. So today's forum, Measuring the Movement, offers an opportunity to advance more solutions to the challenges we face as a nation. We know that too many communities of color were living on the margins even before the recession hit. So our administration is dedicated to turning these great challenges into greater opportunities that significantly improve the lives of many throughout our country. So again, congratulations on today's event, and best wishes in your pursuit of economic security, social justice, and peace for all Americans. Sincerely, President Barack Obama.
Thank you, Michael. Let's get to work.
Live from First Corinthian Baptist Church in Harlem, this is the Reverend Al Sharpton's National Action Network Forum, Measuring the Movement, hosted by Tom Joyner and Roland Martin.
I'm Roland Martin, host and managing editor of TV1's Washington Watch.
And I'm Tom Joyner, host of the Tom Joyner Morning Show, and I'm thrilled to be here to set some goals to move our community forward.
Tom, this is not another chat session on the need for a black agenda. Like any other group, that need is obvious. We're here with some of the top leaders, thinkers, politicians, and activists in the black community for a 2-hour live working session to discuss what needs to be done to advance the black agenda and to gain specific commitments from organizational leaders as to how they will achieve the goals over the next 12 months.
Now, this is not about stats. It's about just what the nation's first black president should be doing. It's not about what the nation's first black president should be doing. It's about what everyone, including the president and civil rights leaders, to unnamed folks working every day to achieve the American dream, answering the call to achieve equality in education, employment, health, and wealth creation. If you were looking at this as a discussion where we would meet, talk, and disperse, you're at the wrong place. This is about folks coming together to meet, mobilize, and to act.
Well, it's not just the folks in the room, but it's also you at home and those following this online. As President Barack Obama stated on election night in November 2008, everyone has a role to play.
We know the government can't solve every problem, but I will always be honest with you about the challenges we face. I will listen to you, especially when we disagree. And above all, I will ask you to join in the work of remaking this nation the only way it's been done in America for 221 years, block by block, brick by brick, calloused hand by calloused hand.
Now, the folks on this panel, they will be making their commitment. We'll also be asking for your commitment as well. This forum today is the culmination of this week's National Action Network's annual conference, a conference that showcased some of the most powerful and important people in America, gathered by the Reverend Al Sharpton to address the issues of vital concern to the black community. These well-known folks, along with hundreds of others, known and unknown, were here in New York for a variety of panels, discussions, and networking. But again, the time for talk is over. The time for action is not.
Yeah, Roland, you're right on point. And we want the folks at home to participate as well. We'll be getting comments from audience members, also from you at home, by blackamericaweb.com and Twitter. We'll be sharing your input all throughout the 2 hours of this show.
We're tweeting too.
And we're tweeting. Send your tweets to TV1 TV at TV1 TV. If you want to send a comment to our live blog, go to blackamericaweb.com. And I'll be back with the first question from the audience and the first of our web comments in just a few minutes, Roland.
All right, time for us to get started. Folks, let me introduce our panel. Please hold your applause until all have been called. The Reverend Al Sharpton, founder and president of the National Action Network. South Carolina Congressman James Clyburn, who is also Majority Whip in the House of Representatives, the third highest ranking Democrat and the highest ranking African American in Congress. Mark Morial, he is president and CEO of the National Urban League. Leslie Baskerville, president of the National Association for Equal Opportunity in Higher Education, which represents nearly 120 historically black colleges and universities. Danny Bakewell Sr. is chairman of the National Newspaper Publishers Association, also known as the Black Press. Faya Rose Touré, founder and president of the National Voting Museum, and Benjamin Jealous, president and CEO of the NAACP. Also with us today, another great group of folks who will be offering up suggestions throughout the discussion. Say hello to Tamika Mallory, Executive Director of the National Action Network, Angela Saylor of the Republican National Committee, Dr. Elsie Scott, Executive Director of the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation, Calvin Smyre, President of the National Black Caucus of State Legislators, Michael Nutter, Mayor of Philadelphia, also Harvard Law Professor Dr. Charles Ogletree, and Dr. Lenora Fulani, co-founder of the All Stars Project. Give them a round of applause, please.